Hi everyone, I hope you're good guys and welcome to a new video. So today I'm gonna make 3 presets from scratch. 2 of them are influenced by Ben Bohmer and Stefan Bodzin, but the idea is to build the patch from scratch and for you to catch some tips here and there, so this way you can implement them to your own sound as well. So for the sake of the video, I've applied a little bit of reverb. So I know some of you is not gonna be happy, but the reason being is sometimes you make some subtle change and without any reverb, it's quite hard to hear the changement, and the reverb acts as an enhancer. All right, so let's start with the first patch. So this is an init patch, and basically I just have like my oscillator 1, and for this preset I wanna use the duo mode. So basically what it will do, if I have oscillator 1, I have oscillator 2, they're playing together, but I cannot play 2 notes, and if I'm in duo mode, it's paraphonic, so I can play. So for the first oscillator, let's do one oscillator by another. I need to be in 8. And I can choose the waveform, the square. And for oscillator 2, now we can put the maximum. I'm gonna stay with the pulse, with the sawtooth, and this way. Now when I have both, okay, that's pretty good already. I'm gonna add a bit of sub. I'm gonna play the MIDI pattern. As I'm a bad keyboard player, it's better to have the MIDI pattern. I will put the MIDI files as well with the preset. By the way, everything is gonna be available for free, the link in the description. So the point here is to use the Moog Subsequent and not build the melody. But the patterns sound like this. I'm gonna reduce the cutoff. So you can leave your 24 dB pass filter. I didn't touch the envelope, it's already like it is, but it's sharp attack, long sustain, then it doesn't really matter, to be fair. There is no filter envelope. You can add one if you want, but now if you want to make your sound a little bit more exciting, you can add a little bit of vibrato. So with the pitch, with a faster rate, maybe it's better if I just play one note. You see, you have to be very gentle. You can go more and then adjust with the. But that's something you can do. Just to add a bit of variation, one thing you can do as well is modulate your filter. So, use mode 2. You can sync. Use the triangle. Maybe it's a bit too much. And it's a bit too fast. You can add a bit of noise. So this way when you open the filter you have this nice brighter sound. And finally you can add some feedback if you want to add a bit of grid. And multi-drive. But for this patch I prefer to stay soft and alright, and that's it for our first patch. Alright, now let's make a track in the style of Bodzin based classic sound, and this one has been inspired by the Boavista track, one of his latest tracks from his last album. Let's start. So we have that. We have our first oscillator. We want 8. here again, I'm gonna choose the waveform, which is like between sawtooth and square. All right, and now I'm gonna add a sub oscillator later, and now I'm gonna focus on oscillator 2. And this one I want octave upper, and I'm gonna keep the sawtooth. So now what I'm gonna do is, now I have my oscillator, I'm gonna adjust the level of the sub and the oscillator 1 according to oscillator 2. Alright, and I've done this way because these two are kind of louder than this one. Now, one thing important, I want to put the hard sync mode. It's just gonna sync the phase of both oscillator. And I'm gonna activate keyboard reset, which means all of the oscillators gonna reset every time I press a note. I wanna add a bit of crunch with the feedback. So here I don't wanna overdo it, but okay, now let's move into the filter. I don't need resonance. I'm gonna change the slope to 12 dB. I don't need something too steep, and I'm gonna add a bit of drive. Alright, and then no envelope. You can add if you want, but I'm not gonna put it for now. And then keyboard tracking, it's up to you. It doesn't really need, you can add a little bit. And then for the envelope, you can anyway keep the default one. You cannot decay, but I choose no decay, a bit of attack, sustain to the maximum, and a bit of release. The filter envelope I don't need. Alright, next addition to the sound is you have usually a bit of glide with Bodzin, and you have it here as well, but it's just kind of gentle, so I'll activate LCR mode. You don't want to overdo it, you don't want to have it too much, just a little bit. Now I want to add a bit of movement to my filter, so I'm going to modulation 2, filter amount. I'm gonna sync, and you want the triangle. And now I want in sync, and you have the 2 notes, and I want the filter to open. 2 notes, the filter to open, 2 notes, the filter to open. You're gonna hear. Don't want to overdo it neither. Alright, now if you want to kind of go a little bit further, what you can do as well is slightly detune the oscillator 1 to 2 with this knob here. So that's really up to you, but you can see it add a bit of character. And now what you can do is as well modulate the two waveform of your oscillator. So you're gonna use mode 1, you make sure the modulation is at the maximum, and you can select here oscillator 1 and oscillator 2 wave. You can use triangle. So that's a great way to add character. You can just do one oscillator. You can change the waveform as well. I like the triangles, so up, so down, and I will come back to this later on the last patch. But yeah, we're good to go with this patch, and let's reset everything and move into the last one. All right, so the last one is gonna be an arpeggiator. So I'm gonna activate the ARP, and I'm gonna play the MIDI sequence. So one thing I wanted to talk about, one thing I've noticed is you see the pulse, it's kind of sounding very weak, and what I will usually do is I will kind of skip it, but I really recommend to play with it, and you can have this nice brassy sound. So I'm just gonna add a bit of attack and decay. I don't need sustain, and same for the filter. And I really like how pure it sounds. If you add more decay, that's just something I wanted to mention before to start this patch. But yeah, basically this patch, the amp is gonna be pretty similar, having like this flirty attack. So you bring down the filter, bring a bit of filter envelope, and bring your attack around, I don't know, it's 11. And then you don't want any sustain. And you can even go with a sharper decay. No release if you want. So I'm gonna and I already like how it sounds. It's just with one oscillator, it's already good. Now the idea of the patch is to have a second oscillator and then after modulate both waveforms to create nice different harmonics. So let's bring oscillator 2. I can bring an octave down maybe. Bit of feedback. Bit of drive maybe. And what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna use the envelope filter actually to modulate the filter, and I'm gonna use very short so here it doesn't work the hard thing, but here again you can slightly detune, you can add a bit of noise. Now let's play with our wave modulation. And I'm gonna put, as you can hear, it's an arpeggiator and it's kind of a 16 note arpeggiator. So I'm gonna put the rate in the same, and now I'm gonna play with the waveform to see if I can. And you get and now if I want to modify, let's add another one, same idea. But yeah, you get a nice sound, a nice plucky, dark, melodic sound that you can play and experiment with. Alright, and that's it for today, guys. I hope you liked this video. I hope you learned a few tricks. And don't forget, you can grab the preset and the MIDI file for free, the link in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon, guys. Bye bye.